Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here coming at you again with another video over on FJORDUR, and as you can see, it is a interesting one. I guess my character just keeps pooping, but I want to show you my 5 best fishing spots on the map. Now the things about these fishing spots, other than this one right here, they are all safe, filled with the best possible sized fish, and they are a good place to go fishing with just a canoe. Now this one right here, you can see, by the way, my cords will always be in the upper left corner of my screen. You can see them moving right now. Wherever I am, those are the actual cords. You go inside this cave, and if you can clear out some of the stuff that'll kill you, this is one of the best spots to fish in the entire game, because the best loot comes from saber-toothed salmon. Now the saber-toothed salmon, as long as you have a decent, again, keyword being decent, rod, you can get some of the best loot. And a ascendant rod with a leech blood will get you some crazy loot. It takes 60 seconds per thing to be in the water, but if you can get a 1 times or greater, you can end up with some of the loot like you see in my inventory right now. This is all stuff that I got from fishing, all of these blueprints, and yeah, they're pretty nasty. So it's a lot of fun to be able to get that. So this is the hardest one because it's not the safest. But however, if you are considering looking for some safe stuff, then go ahead and check this next couple of spots out. So we'll go to our fishing spots on this map. This again is probably the best spot overall, but not the safest. So you can also catch fish in these locations, and again, the location will be in the upper left corner of my screen so you can see it, so I don't need to repeat that. Okay, apparently I brought everything with me. But, so there's a little river system right here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of above. So you can see it kind of drains down into this area, but on these little ledges that you can see right here, there are quite a few fish that will spawn, and they're all saber-tooth. Now, there are a few coal in there, but the big ones, and where you get your crazy loot, is from the larger saber-tooth. So like this guy right there, some of these over here, and you can go to the next shelf up, and there's like 2 different shelves that will kind of get them all stuck, and you can kind of just safely tame, and I mean not tame, catch these fish and get some pretty good loot out of it. It's not something that you're going to ever have to complain about because it's a very, very useful thing. The hardest thing you're going to find here really is that, like an Allosaurus like you see right there, it's just going to run away. Yeah, just go away. And that's about the highest, most difficult thing you'll have. But if you have a canoe, you can just pick up the canoe and move. And this is my fishing spot number 1. Super safe area, good to use, and it's just where I go for my first checking point, if you want to think about it that way. All right, now we're going to go to fishing spot number 2. Now this is another great spot to go on the map. We're looking for smaller sized areas because in the larger pools, it's harder to catch things. With the good bait, it's harder to catch things. So you can see this one has a ton of saber-toothed salmon. The cord's upper left corner of the screen. Sometimes they'll get stuck over here, sometimes they'll get stuck there, but for the most part, they are all large saber-toothed salmon, and they will just continue to spawn down this entire line right here. Now you can just use your canoe and go back and forth, and if you want to, sometimes they'll spawn down in this zone, and then you can also catch them down here. Spinos will occasionally spawn down in here, but you can see it's pretty nice because you can just kind of hover around and catch a ton of stuff, and you can move up and down these shelves, and it's a great area to just go back and forth and catch a ton of freaking loot. And again, this is the cords for it. You can see it in the upper left corner of my screen. So this is kind of one of my favorite places to go. You can see I've already even got some canoes here waiting for me whenever they are ready to go. So let's go ahead and move on to fishing spot number 3. Technically the 4, I mean, technically it's the 4th because I showed you that like little spot if you can clear some of that stuff out. But this one's Redwood Forests. It's a big lake. Now, I know I say I don't go to big lakes, but for some reason, the fish on the bottom of this one have no problem swimming up and grabbing your bait. So it works just fine. This is also where you can find a ton of otters, by the way. Don't know why they spawn in here, but they do. And you can get a ridiculous number of saber-tooth that spawn like on repeat in this one for some reason. They kind of like tend to spawn like literally right on top of this rock, and then they just start swimming in any direction, so they just continue to spawn. So if you're having server lag issues, this lake can also be a major cause because of the number of saber-tooth in here. So you can, if you want to, just go to this cord right here and then put your canoe up and you'll catch a ton of saber-tooth salmon. Now, it's up to you how you do that. I would personally go about it just by sitting on the edge of the water and then figuring out where the thylacoleos are, because that's the most dangerous part, most dangerous tame nearby, and that's kind of what you want to be careful of. So let's go ahead and go to our next fishing spot. And the final place is probably one of my favorites. Again, very similar to this first fishing spot that we found. A large area with a lot of room for stuff. So you can see this right here, right? Cool. Small lake. They all get trapped right there. You can do a chair. You can do a canoe, whatever you want. All of the fish spawn and get stuck right in this little deep section, so you can literally just throw it over and over and over. Here's where it gets cooler. You drop down to the next point. Down here, they all get stuck right here. And then there's another point where if you go a little bit further down, they'll get stuck again. So this entire section is kind of filled with little choke points where these fish tend to get stuck. You can see it. There's another one right here. Baryonyx apparently have spawned here, so that's interesting. So we're just going to go knock that out, but whatever. You can see another spawn point where they get stuck at, and again, the saber-tooth is what we're looking for here, so that is something that you can use. Once you get down to this main water, there's no point because they don't spawn super regularly, but if you can stay inside this little area right here, it's a very safe area because there's nothing that really deadly spawns in here. They can get stuck, but when they get stuck like this, you can take them out pretty easily. So these are the best fishing spots that I know of on the map, so I would continue to use these over and over because you're looking for small zones, lots of easy fish with lots of safe points. Not too many dangerous things around here. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you out, and other than that, teach out.